Hey everybody in the Training for Warriors Dojo. It's another Ask Coach Rooney, and I'm excited about this one. This is one of my favorite lifts that we're about to go over. This one goes out to Dustin and a number of people in the dojo that all really appreciated the tips that I gave about squatting and the tips that I've been giving about deadlift, and they kept saying, hey man, what about the bench press? What about the bench press? You got tips for the bench press? Do I got tips for the bench press? Guys, I have been bench pressing for the last almost 30 years. I'm figuring out, actually it's 30 years. It's actually, man, I just realized how old I was. I have been bench pressing for 30 years. Haven't missed a week without it. Feel fantastic. Actually just set a North Carolina state record in my age group last week, so it's still working. And a lot of that goes into what I've learned about the lift and the thousands and thousands of reps I've done in the lift. Now, I've mentioned before here in the dojo about why I think the bench press is an important lift, so you can go back and look at that. But now we're going to go over a couple of little technical points, focusing on the upper body first, and then maybe we'll do a little series here and get a couple of other pieces as well so they don't go so long. Now, the first thing is, hey, on a bench press, when we talk about that, I would say the first part is you got to make sure you got a good bench. It was interesting. I just went to a meet, and that bench was very different than any benches I had used before. It was a little bit wider, it was a little bit softer, and I started to realize that the bench itself that you're on, not just the width of the bench and how soft it is, but also the balance of the bench. I was just lifting at the Army Airborne. We were benching there, and man, they had these rickety benches that were moving side to side, but also to the height of the bench. So the height of the bench, and depending on the height of the people you're working with, you're going to have to maybe adjust where they put their feet or get some plates to put their feet. There's a lot of things, man, there's so many things that go into the bench press that we're going to talk about. But the first part is you want to make sure that your bench is adequate, you're used to the bench, and it's the right size and the right height. Once you have that, what I want to talk about first is upper body position. Once you've gotten down and you've laid down, and you're going to see, I'm not a big like arch your back through the roof. Hey, unless you're trying to win a powerlifting world championship, I want you to think about the bench right now as a training tool to get the most out of the training and develop yourself. The next thing that I want you to think about is your grip. So grip is very important in the bench press. Now, and what I mean here is, if you use a narrow grip like I do, I use a very narrow grip, what some people would consider a close grip. With a narrow grip, when I come down under control and drive back up, there's a lot more triceps and lats. See, I have big lats and I got big traps and big triceps, but I'm not a big chest guy. But see, some people, they've got a bigger chest and they've got a stronger chest, they may go with a much wider grip. So even me holding it right here, to even hold the bar out this way is very foreign for me. I don't like a really wide grip. When I would come up where see now, even with my elbows still trying to stay tucked, I'm putting a tremendous amount of pressure on my chest, more than I am my lats and my traps. So the first part is you got to find what grip works for you. And according to what grip works for you, that's going to take time to figure out where you're going to be able to get your best results or what you're really trying to develop. You want to develop more triceps and lats? Go closer. You want to develop more chest? Maybe move your hands out wider. Now, speaking of the hands, one little tip that I can give you too if you want to lift more is, man, you've got to have a maximal grip on that bar. When you go to do your reps, you should be maximally squeezing to create that irradiation of musculature through your upper body. And I'll tell you what, you squeeze harder in your hands, you're going to do a lot more weight. And that brings me to, let's say, the last important point for this first part on bench press, and that is the wrist. One of the most common mistakes that I see where people are leaking energy or costing themselves is wrist position. A lot of athletes, when I go to colleges and stuff, they'll have their hands back like this and they're kind of moving the bar. So let me show you what I mean. It's almost like, so let's say I'm getting into position here and my wrists are back and they're, they're moving. You see how it's like I'm moving my wrist as I snap through. When you bench press, that wrist should stay locked straight, that it comes down and up and nothing moves. So you're not wasting energy, you're not bending at the wrist, which is stretching the nerves and costing you strength. You want to be locked in. So when I get in here, I lock in like I'm throwing a punch. Everything, I'm gripping my hands as tight as I can. I lock into position, and when I come down, I feel like I'm breaking that bar, and then I drive back up and through. Everything stays straight, locked, and I don't cost myself any energy. So, to review, in bench press part 1, You got to know your bench, have the right bench. You got to know who you are and the grip that you're working and what grip you want. And then once you have that grip right, you got to have maximal squeeze and really good wrist position. You just change a few of those things, and I guarantee you're going to see your bench press soar, or you're going to change the technique of some of your clients, and they're going to get the results they're looking for too. So I hope that helps everybody out. And now I'm going to keep spilling my brain out on the bench press, the 30+ years of doing it, in the next video here in the Training for Warriors Dojo.